Initially, I thought the 5S's were just another one of those things that we're going to do to make upper management happy, you know.
The thought of working out of a community toolbox didn't seem possible.
And our feeling, or my feeling about it was, we don't have time to mess with this. We have a lot of parts to build and deadlines to meet.
I didn't have a good feeling about it. I felt it would just be a waste of my time. I just wanted to do my work, and I thought it was just going to be another program that would come and go.
Currently, I'm glad we got rid of the personal toolboxes because now I see we don't need them. I have my shadow board, has all the tools I need to do my job.
So we've had plenty of time to see that it actually does work. So we're pretty excited about it, and it's part of our everyday process now.
And it makes our work easier. I can go home at night feeling that I've accomplished something rather than looking around for something all day long.
Now everything's very well organized, and it makes our jobs go much smoother.
These two groups of Boeing employees have been practicing the 5S's for some time, and they're experiencing the results every day. What changed their initial opinions about the 5S's, and what's happened to their work environments along the way? Well, both groups work inside this building, but their work areas and processes are very different. One's a manufacturing area, the other an office environment. Now, in this video, we're going to find out about each group's experiences with the 5S's. We'll see some of what they've accomplished, and we'll hear from them how their jobs have been affected. Now, just inside this door is the area where the main landing gear door is assembled for the 757. The area's employees started their 5S activities about a year and a half ago. Now, since then, their area has changed dramatically.
Before we implemented the 5S's, our area was pretty much a mess. We didn't know it at that time, but we had workbenches that were serving as benches, tool storage, lunch tables. We were storing parts on them. Just about wherever we could put something, that's where it went.
The first step to making changes in the area was the first S, sorting.
It was actually a lot of fun. It was surprising in the end when we had sorted everything that we deemed unnecessary. The big pile of stuff we had in the middle of the floor was just amazing. We had 2 or 3 SA dollies full of stuff that was carted out of here that we had decided weren't really a necessary part of our process. It was really amazing.
In the beginning, it was hard to get rid of things, but when we looked at the reality of the issue, we had to decide, do we need it? And if we don't need it, we get rid of it. If we do need it, we need to decide how much of it we need to keep in the area, and we need to have a permanent location for it.
Okay, guys, the first thing we're going to do is the first S, sorting. And the way we'll get started in order to
Sorting is not a one-time thing in this area. Several times since their initial sorting, they've repeated the process, and in doing so have removed even more unnecessary stuff. The process starts with agreeing on sorting criteria and designating areas for small teams to tackle.
How often do you use it? Do you use it at least weekly?
The team members touch every item in their assigned area and decide if it's really needed. If they think an item is not needed, it's tagged with a Post-it note and brought to a holding area.
Sounds good. What are these? We use them?
I don't know what they are. Let's tag them and we'll find out.
Okay, sounds good.
Later, the entire group reassembles and holds a sorting auction. Now, through the auction, they must reach agreement on whether the tagged items are indeed unnecessary.
Nobody uses it anymore.
Oh, let's get rid of it.
Get rid of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we have 3 boxes of these bolts. These are VG 10K42s. Who uses these?
We do.
Everybody does?
Yeah, we use them on the main landing gear doors.
On the main landing gear door?
Yeah.
How often do you use it?
We use them, use a box up in a month probably.
A box in a month? So,
Yeah.
But you use them every day?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think? Think we ought to maybe take 1 box and leave it in the area and send the other 2 to surplus or to standards?
Yeah.
We have consensus. Everybody agree with that?
Yeah,
It works in the area? Okay, great. Marty, I'd like you to take custody of this and find a proper location to properly identify those. Thank you. Ron, take these. All right.
Every tagged item goes through these same sorting criteria questions. Those that meet the criteria and are deemed necessary by the group are ready for the next test, simplifying.
Anybody use this?
Simplifying really means organizing and arranging everything that's needed so you can do the job efficiently and safely. The landing gear doors employees have created some excellent examples. They designed these mobile work tables for each of the door assembly tools. Attached to each table is a shadow board. It contains and organizes all the tools, drills, and bits they need to work on the door in that position.
When I go to reach for a certain tool, a drill motor, a screw gun, or anything like that, it's right. I know exactly where it is. I don't have to search.
Another shadow board mounted on a cart holds the drill plates that get mounted on the door assembly tool. Some of these plates weigh over 40 pounds, but because of their arrangement on the shadow board, there's no more bending and twisting required to lift them into place on the tool, and the cart's mobility saves a lot of steps toward carrying a heavy load. Notice that labels on both the plate and the shadow board make it clear where the plate belongs. Outlines on the floor clearly tell you where things that can be moved should be located. Everything from mobile racks for the doors to garbage cans and hazardous waste containers. And hazard stripes identify danger zones around equipment. Possibly the most significant change in the area is the disappearance of personal toolboxes. It's taken a while, but everyone has taken their toolboxes home.
I don't have a toolbox anymore. I can go in any area in this shop and work without my toolbox. I don't need it, except for specialty things, and that's what our tool room's for.
To this area's employees, sweeping means something more than just pushing a broom. It includes an ongoing visual inspection of their work area.
When I sweep across my area and I notice something's out of place, I'll put it back in place. This is what keeps your area organized. So I visually sweep the area for anything that is out of place, including our shadow boards. If some motors are missing, they're usually on the bench somewhere. I'll grab them and put them back. This is something that I do throughout the day.
Of course, for a truly clean workplace, physical cleaning is also part of their sweeping routines.
The physical cleanup is a disciplined part of 5S, and you have to clean, you have to sweep. By the way we have our areas set up now, it's much easier. There's no clutter. It's not cluttered. There's not a lot of things around on the floors, everywhere too. So the cleaning is real easy.
Since most of their equipment is on wheeled carts, the group can sweep and clean up more efficiently and thoroughly.
It's an ongoing thing. You can't just say, well, we clean up 15 minutes at the end of the shift. We don't do that. It's ongoing, always.
Standardizing means having a specific process that everyone follows. No variation. That process can change later, but for the time being, everyone sticks to a specific process. That's standardizing.
To assemble the main landing gear door, the mechanics use many different sized fasteners. The group has standardized the order in which boxes of fasteners are arranged on a mobile cart. This order matches the standardized sequence in which they install the fasteners in the door. Another example of standardizing are the shadow boards for the two door assembly tools. There are shadow boards for both the left and the right doors. The crew designed the layouts for these shadow boards to be identical. This standardization eliminates searching for tools when switching from work on one door to the other. As an outgrowth of their 5S activities, the group has also begun to standardize some of their work processes.
In the past, before the 5S's, we used to put tools or do our processes in any open space that we had on the floor. Doing the 5S's has really organized us. We now do our process flow. Our incoming comes in, it's identified, it goes straight into our tools, out of our tools, onto the floor to do the floor work, into seal, into paint. It's almost like a horseshoe effect.
It is not easy to be self-disciplined in the 5S program. It's something that you grow into. It doesn't become natural, but it becomes habit. The longer you work at it, the better you become at being self-disciplined.
Self-discipline is just something that you have to have if it's going to work.
In our case on the FHAs here, if you run out of a certain size of a drill bit, the self-discipline kicks in when you go and you replenish that drill bit supply instead of just sneaking over to the other FHA and stealing one of their drill bits or something like that.
But self-discipline goes beyond the individual. The group has learned that they must work at the 5S's as a team. This includes getting input from everyone who could be affected by a 5S improvement.
Everyone has to participate in 5S's. It isn't a one-person thing. It's a group effort. And without the group, you're done.
The group has also learned that their management must play a supportive role, especially when planning for initial 5S implementation. Ray Bracey, General Supervisor for the building, agrees.
In terms of being leaders, it doesn't mean going out and doing it ourselves. It means asking the people how they want it done and then giving them the resources to allow it to occur, whether that's things like shadow boards that we have in the shop floor or tools or what have you, or whether it's time or whether it's money to make things happen.
It's fairly easy to see how much the landing gear door area has benefited from the 5S's. But you might ask how these 5S ideas apply to people working in office environments. Well, our second group is a case in point. There are a 6-person industrial engineering office that schedules the workload for this building. Let's take a look at what they've experienced since starting their 5S activities 8 months ago.
Before we got started, it was a cluttered mess. Racks, folders, books, manuals piled so high on everyone's desk that you couldn't see the top of their desk and you couldn't see each other in this room. There was just mass paper everywhere. It was distracting.
During their initial sorting phase, the group surplused a lot of unnecessary items, including 5 bookcases, 55 binders, 24 recycled boxes full of paper, a desk, a cabinet, and several chairs, all from this small office. As a result, today the office is uncluttered and neat. Reducing unneeded paper is an important component of their sorting. One big paper reduction was achieved by canceling unneeded reports being routed to the group.
We had stacks of reports coming in that maybe an analyst that was here 3 years ago had ordered, and it was still coming in and getting filed. No one in here was using it. It might have been for a 707 spare, only one time that we made the part, and no one needed it, but it was still coming.
The group is proud to have eliminated wire racks and 5-tier trays from all their desktops, an improvement they believe goes beyond mere appearances.
They were good places to put things, but there's no way to know what you have there unless you go through them routinely. So they were just collection spots. Collectors of of useless material as well as needed material.
Yes.
Like the shop, this group has made some of their greatest gains through simplifying. They've developed a number of systems that better organize the information they need to do their jobs. The master file system is the hub of their paper-based information. Its files are well organized and labeled, which makes the information in them easily accessible to everyone in the group. They also maintain an index of all files in the system, both in hard copy and on the computer.
We don't have 5 copies of different pieces of information floating around, so when we need to update information, we have just one source to update. We know that that information will be the most current.
The master file system saves a lot of time, too.
Group-wise, there's 6 of us here, and I'd venture to say that each of us saves an hour to an hour and a half of time per day.
Okay. Well, Jo won't be back today, but I can get that information from her desk file if you let me call you back in a few minutes. Okay, I'll do that.
Thanks to their desk inventory system, when someone is gone from the office, another employee can quickly access work-in-progress information kept in that individual's desk. Each employee maintains a form listing the files, charts, and computer disks stored in his or her desk, and where the items are located. The system definitely saves time that might be spent rummaging through someone else's desk. And it allows the group to respond to customers' requests for information when someone is absent. The group has also clearly organized and labeled information kept in 3-ring binders.
Well, we've always used the binders in the office, but what we've done is we've labeled the binders, color-coded them by grouping, and identified them in a number sequence. We've got red for a certain section in a certain area, blue, etc.
For quick reference, they've posted an index next to each group, listing the titles in that set. Each binder group is located closest to the individual who uses it most.
The visual sweeping is an ongoing thing. We don't just stop what we're doing and say, oh, it's time to sweep the office. It's just something that we all practice. We want to make sure that we keep things the way we work so hard to get them.
Sweeping means that it's easy to look across the room and tell what's out of place. We want a very organized process, so being able to easily identify those items that are out of place is important. Housekeeping is a part of sweeping. It also, though, includes safety items, safety factors. We no longer have clutter all over the floor to trip over. We've removed cords so that people aren't in danger of tripping over those. We don't have coats on the back of our chairs for people to trip over. Much safer environment.
Okay, so also on the order activity,
Thanks to their 5S efforts, the group is standardizing in a variety of areas. An important one is their concept of having only one project out on their desktop at a time.
I find it a lot easier to work during my day with one item on my desk, which was part of our program here, and it allowed me to focus a lot better on my work at hand instead of looking at the terrible backlog I might have for that day or that week.
Standardizing safety procedures was another high priority.
We've established an evacuation procedure which we have posted on the door, right next to the door. And along with that evacuation procedure, we have a list of those individuals that are members of the group. So the last individual that goes out the door can grab that form and have all the information easily accessible.
Another example of the group's standardizing efforts are the procedure sheets they're developing for their manuals. Posted inside the cover, the procedure sheet outlines how to use the information contained in that manual.
Self-discipline means to me that I can't permit files to stack up on my desk.
Self-discipline to me means that I need to take as much responsibility as anyone else in this group of maintaining the 5S program that we set up. For the group as a whole, we do a pretty good job because we know each other a lot better now.
I think we have a new appreciation for each other's roles thanks to the 5S system. We have a new respect for each other, for how we can work stronger if we work as a team.
One of the benefits that I feel that I've gained out of this is closeness with the group. And kicking out the 5S's, you have to work with them, like I say, especially on initial kickoff, and in the hands-on and getting down and work with them. And also the teamwork involved in making this work.
We're not finished by any means, and we never will be. I don't think we ever can reach perfection, but we can keep striving to have a good, clean, orderly operation.
In both of our examples, the shop and the office, you can see that the 5S's are simple, common sense principles. Yet the more these employees practice the 5S's, the more ways they find to improve their work environment. The employees themselves control the 5S activities in their work areas, yet their management had to play a supportive role for them to succeed. They found that it requires a strong partnership. And even though their work environments haven't yet achieved world-class status, the success they've experienced with the 5S's convinced them it's well worth the efforts to continue.
But once you get involved, I mean, once it starts to change, you get excited. You do. You start making the changes, and you'll be amazed how everybody else gets excited around you.
I haven't been with the Boeing company that long, but I've seen programs come and go, and this one I think is here to stay.